Sleep in childhood and adolescence is like oxygen to the developing brain, essential, non-negotiable, and wildly underestimated in modern life. Kids and teens need more sleep than adults not because they're lazy or fragile, but because their bodies and brains are in hypergrowth mode, remodeling neurons, consolidating memories, regulating emotions, and fine-tuning everything from metabolism to immune function. Yet, paradoxically, the very age group that needs the most sleep often gets the least. Blame a cocktail of late-night screen time, overloaded schedules, biological clock shifts, and a society that seems to think tired children are just a parenting rite of passage rather than a public health red flag. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommends 9 to 12 hours of sleep for kids ages 6 to 12 and 8 to 10 hours for teens. But in practice, many are running on fumes. A CDC survey found that nearly 73% of high schoolers don't get the recommended amount of sleep on school nights. Middle schoolers aren't doing much better. These are growing brains operating at a deficit, and the consequences show up fast. Sleep deprivation in youth hits hard across the board, physically, behaviorally, and cognitively. Tired kids are more likely to struggle with attention, impulse control, and emotional regulation. Teachers often notice sleep debt before parents do. The student who's zoning out, overreacting to small frustrations, or turning homework into a meltdown moment isn't necessarily defiant. They might just be exhausted. On a cognitive level, insufficient sleep impairs working memory, learning, and decision-making. Imagine trying to build complex ideas on a mental construction site that's half-lit and missing its foreman. That's the adolescent brain without sleep. And it's not just about school performance. Chronic sleep restriction in youth has been linked to long-term health risks, obesity, type 2 diabetes, weakened immunity, and even early signs of cardiovascular problems. Hormonal imbalances caused by sleep loss disrupt appetite regulation, leading to increased cravings for junk food and reduced satiety signals. Combine that with a sedentary lifestyle and screen addiction, and you've got a perfect storm of modern metabolic dysfunction brewing before kids even hit adulthood. Emotionally, sleep-deprived teens are more prone to mood swings, anxiety, and depression. In fact, sleep disruption often precedes mental health issues in adolescence, suggesting that better rest isn't just a side effect of good mental health, it might be a prerequisite. Suicide risk, in particular, has been linked to poor sleep in teens, with shorter sleep duration correlating with higher reports of suicidal ideation. That's not the kind of statistic you can brush off with "they'll catch up on the weekend." This isn't about feeling a bit tired, it's about emotional survival. Of course, one of the biggest culprits in this epidemic is screen time. Tablets, phones, gaming consoles, and TVs aren't just passive distractions. They actively hijack the brain's sleep systems. Blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production, delaying sleep onset. And then there's the content itself, stimulating, emotionally charged, designed to reward the brain and keep users engaged. Try telling a 14-year-old to fall asleep after a TikTok binge or online gaming session. You might as well ask them to do calculus underwater. And let's not forget the scheduling madness. Many teens experience a natural biological shift during puberty that makes them feel sleepy later at night and alert later in the morning. Unfortunately, the modern school system, with its 7:30 a.m. start times and punishing workloads, completely ignores this. It's as if we expect teens to function like adults with morning jobs, but on a brain that's still building the operating system. And we wonder why they're grumpy. Solutions exist, but they require adults to stop treating teen fatigue as either laziness or a personality flaw. Later school start times, screen curfews, and education around sleep hygiene can make a huge difference. Parents can support better sleep by establishing predictable routines, limiting device use before bed, and modeling good sleep habits themselves. Yes, that means putting your own phone down too. Schools can stagger academic loads, delay early classes, and promote sleep health as part of mental wellness programs. But none of this works if society continues to glorify busyness and productivity at the expense of rest. There's something darkly ironic about how hard it is to convince a society to let its children sleep, something that costs nothing, requires no tech, and improves nearly every measurable outcome in life. But the reality is this: a nation of sleep-deprived kids becomes a nation of stressed-out, underperforming adults. And no, they don't grow out of it. They just grow into it. So the next time your kid is cranky, unfocused, or emotionally erratic, don't reach for punishment or diagnosis right away. Ask first, how did they sleep last night? And the night before? If the answer involves TikTok until 1 a.m., a 6 a.m. wake up, and weekends spent in recovery coma, then you've got your culprit. It's not hormones. It's not rebellion. It's not bad parenting. It's sleep, neglected, disrespected, and quietly taking its toll on the next generation's health, happiness, and future.